Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get John Frusciante's tone on a budget. I just want to give a quick disclaimer that it's not going to be exactly like John's tone. Of course, I don't have no Marshall stacks in my room. I don't have his whole massive Stadium Arcadium pedal board. I do think I get pretty close. I personally am a firm believer that you will never sound exactly like John unless you become John somehow. Just the way he plays the guitar is just going to give different sounds from other people. You know, everyone has their own kind of twist to how they play guitar. I do think it's fun to chase tone, but you can get into like that rabbit hole of like trying to tweak all the settings and trying to sound exactly like him, which I went through, and honestly it wasn't super fun. At some points I'd be playing songs off like Blood Sugar Sex Magic and I can't even get through the song because I'm on my knees trying to fix dials on my pedals, and I'm just like, this isn't fun anymore. Like, I'm not even playing the song. This will get you a good ballpark range or like an estimate of his tone, and then obviously everybody's gear and like specifics are different. You're gonna have to learn your gear, play around with the settings that I'm giving you and make it sound more so for your setup. I'm gonna run through my chain, like my pedal chain. I'm gonna give you guys which guitar I'm using and my amp settings. But yeah, so I wanted to make this video because before all of like YouTube's copyright nonsense and how you can't even play a riff without getting flagged anymore, if it sounds like exactly like the song, which is impressive in a way. But Dave Simpson, which I'm sure you know of if you're searching up like John Frusciante tone videos, he would make like amazing videos. Like, I'm gonna have to give like props to that guy because he's the reason I am where I am today on the guitar. But yeah, so if you really want to develop your way of playing like John or even sounding like John, because some tips I'm giving today I've learned from Dave himself, so go watch his videos. I'll leave a link in the description for his channel. I just think that a lot of the videos out there are just either not the greatest or don't sound exactly like John's tone or don't have like an idea of how his tone works, or it's just somebody has like two Marshall stacks behind them in this whole entire Stadium Arcadium pedal board. And I'm just like, that's just not realistic for the average person. So that's why I wanted to make this video. I put a lot of time trying to get his tone. So first, the guitar. So this is a Highway 1 Strat. It's 2004. Honestly, as long as you have a single coil guitar, you're gonna get his tone. Obviously the amp matters, but we'll talk about that in a second. But in terms of guitar, you just need a guitar that will do the single coil sound. So it doesn't have to be Fender. It could be Squier, it could be PRS. As long as you're getting that single coil sound, you'll get super close. So that's my guitar. So that's the guitar, and in terms of pedals, today I'm using two pedals. There should be a third, but I don't have it yet, which is the Ibanez Wah. Bro. Alright, so the first pedal my guitar is running into is the Boss DS2. I'm sure everybody who's tried to get John's tone has gone through his pedal chain and seen this is on every single one of his pedal boards. My settings are all at max on the Turbo 2 setting. Then the other pedal that I'm running into after the DS2 is the Marshall Jackhammer. If I'm going to rehearsal and I can't get my hands on like a dirty, clean, Marshall-y kind of sound for an amp, I always have this pedal on. You know, you can run it through a clean channel and you're just gonna get that Marshall tone anyway, that like broken up clean tone. Because that's the thing with John, his tone isn't super clean like crystal glass color. It's not super clean like glass. Like, it's got that breakup if you really strum the guitar hard. My settings for the Marshall Jackhammer, I don't know if you can see just because the lighting. The markers on the knobs are kind of fading off because I got this used. But anyway, so I'm on the OD mode. Gains at like 930. Volumes on 10, treble 0, bass 0. Frequency and contour are between like 1 and 2 o'clock, or like 12:30 and 1:30. You're just gonna have to get to know your gear. I'm a big advocate for that. Like, if you buy a piece of gear, you can't just buy it, find someone else's settings and put it and expect that to get that sound. Like, that's just not how it works. You have to tweak it for your sound, for the way you hit the guitar, you know, for the way your amp's set up, just a bunch of stuff like that. So these two pedals are what I'm using today. I'm gonna jump over to my screen. I'm gonna screen record it and show you guys what I'm doing over on GarageBand, because that's how I'm getting my amp tones. So yeah, so let's jump over there. All right, so I've got my guitar plugged in. So just to recap, it's my guitar into the Boss DS2, into the Marshall Jackhammer, into my Behringer Euphoria UMC22 interface. It's just a cheap interface, you know, I got it off Amazon because I needed one. For the actual amp settings, I'm running the model as a vintage British stack. I have the amp as vintage British head, and I have vintage British 4x12 for cabinet. You know, it's just replicating that old Marshall half stack sound. And then for the mic, I'm using a Dynamic 57 because John did use an SM57 in the studio. I know that for sure. I'm sure he used other microphones, but that's one of the ones that he uses, and it's actually the one I'm recording through right now. The gain set at 0 because I'm using the gain through the Marshall jackhammer to get the tone anyway. Bass is on 10, middle is at 7, and treble's on 4. Reverb I have at like 3.5, 4. You know, you can play around with that yourself. It depends on what you like. Presence I have at like 6.5, 7. Master I have at 10. And then for mic placement, you can see on the screen, this is kind of where I have it at. It's like not too far right where it's like super muddy, but it's not too far left to make it super trebly. It's just like right in between. And I have like a hand width of space in between the mic and the speaker. For room space, I have 2, just because I like a little bit of ambience. In terms of pedals that I'm using on here, because they are free, they come with the soft. What I was trying to mention earlier, I can't remember if I did, is I use an effect processor live for sounds like delay, reverb, etc. So I use squash compressor, heavenly chorus, a treble boost, happy face fuzz, and it's called the Vibe, which just looks like his Moog pedal. Alright, yeah, so basically that's just how I'm set up. So just to recap, guitar, DS2, Marshall jackhammer, into the interface, into the Marshall amp, which I'll show you the settings again. Bass at 10, mids at 7, treble at 4, gains like literally at 0, reverb at 3.5, presence at 6.5, master at 10. You can see how my mic's set up there. Into the pedals, and that's it. So without further ado, I'm gonna play through a bunch of them. In the future, I'll make separate tone videos for like Stadium Arcade, and By the Way, Californication, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, etc. This is basically just getting his tone on a budget. Let me know what you think in the comments on how it sounds, and the rest of the video I'm just gonna play before I do an outro. So Alright, so that's basically just a little quick rundown of some riffs, just to give you an idea of what the tone kind of sounds like. I think it does a pretty good job considering the amount of money you're spending. As long as you get that single coil sound from your guitar, you're good. You're looking at about brand new, like about 200 bucks, a little bit more than that for your pedals. I know not everybody has a laptop to run like GarageBand or like amp simulators and stuff like that. I just find it's a lot easier for me. Obviously, you just have to accommodate to what works for you. GarageBand gives me tones that I'm satisfied with just for the sake of recording. The last thing I want to say is I think that a lot of people get caught up in the, you know, recording sound and posting on social media and worrying about likes and followers and stuff like that. I think that everybody is a victim to like the social media part in terms of like if you make guitar videos, like you're always trying to get the likes and the followers, obviously to build your community. But I think the ultimate thing that you have to remember is just have fun. Don't go crazy trying to get his exact tone. Don't go crazy trying to just get followers. Like play what you want to play for fun. Post it out there. If people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. If you post what you like, you'll find the people in that community that will like the same things as you, and they'll just gravitate towards you. I'm gonna recommend a few more channels in the description if you want to check that out for like John's tone or just Chili Pepper related stuff. Let me know what you think of this tone, and I'll see you in the future with some more John related videos.